Steve, congrats on your new special, SteveO's Bucket List. You've been doing this tour for a while, and I thought the disclaimer at the beginning sets it up really well. It says it contains seriously fucked up shit, including reckless, illegal, and life-threatening stunts, graphic violence, nudity, and full-on pornography. You deliver all of that and then some. I thought this was as hilarious as it was disgusting, and it was quite often very disgusting. So you definitely deliver. How was it kind of making this special and delivering that tour experience that you've been doing for a home audience?
Um, well, first off, man, thank you, dude. It is an ambitious warning at the beginning, and it's very satisfying to me that as you watch the special, each promise in the warning is delivered. Um, and the what it was like to put this show together, I would describe as long and gradual. Um, I literally worked on this show for more than 5 years. The first bit was almost in the first bit where the first bit, which I referred to as a bucket list item, was almost in my last special. Um, it was taped in 2017, and the last bit was 2022. I mean, I don't know. I worked on this show for well over 5 years, and never stopped kicking bits out, replacing them with better ones, like filming more, tightening it up, adding stuff. Like it was really pretty remarkable how consistently the show evolved.
Yeah, and I
Um,
kind of wanted to ask about your evolution because you've always had charisma and a stage presence, but you introduce all these bits, you're doing some stand up between showing the videos. How was it just really coming into your own as, a speaker on stage and tightening up those bits as well? Because people kind of take it for granted how much work goes into, really tightening the stand up portion.
well, dude, thank you so much, man. This is my third special, and if I'm honest, I taped my first special like long before I was ready. And as such, that first comedy special, I believe, did more harm than good. I just wasn't there with my performance. And my second special, I taped 2.5 years after the first. It showed great improvement, and it had a multimedia component where I edited in footage of the stories happening in post production, which was really exciting, and it got me interested in taking this multimedia approach to my tour. But as much as that second special was improved, it still was oof. And thankfully, I took a full 5.5 years between taping the second and the third, and I think that really shows. So by the time I taped this one, SteveO's Bucket List, that's a guy on that stage who's been touring doing stand-up comedy for more than 13 years. And dude, I can't thank you enough for putting it that way, to have come into my own. It
Yeah,
really
you,
took.
you definitely see the polish here. You can tell that you've thought a lot about what you're saying and what you're doing. And I was curious about kind of just the overall iteration process on these stunts. I mean, it's wild enough to come up with some of these ideas, like ejaculating while skydiving. Like that's insane. But how do you go from like having like this joke where it's like, wouldn't that be crazy if I did it, and then actually doing all the work involved to actually doing it? Because I'm sure there's so many little things that have to,
Oh,
be
dude,
brought up and all. Yeah.
100%. Um, the the real work a lot of the time is in setting up the shoot. Particularly with the ejaculating while falling out of an airplane stunt. Um, that 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 took a lot of tries, man. We called it. Just took a lot, and I also think it takes a lot to present that video. And I think it's testimony to how far I've actually come with the stand up, that I can tell the story of skyjacking in such a way that it makes people not only okay with watching me jack off, but to do so joyfully, like in a group of like 1,000 people in a theater. And man, that's it's wild. It's wild stuff, dude. I love that. I just love that I've done something so fucking absurd.
And we see your lovely fiance throughout. And just so many people have seen your dick throughout the years. That has to be absurd. Is there a limit of what you won't like show or do? Because you've been very open, physically, emotionally, through trauma, you with the audience. Like I feel like people kind of know and appreciate so much about your story and your life. Is there anything that you keep to yourself?
Um, Not a whole lot, that's for sure. And I think like as you kind of put that question together, it struck me that I really have shared an awful lot, and like what should I be worried about? Like like crazy how I think I go through phases of being like really really like anxious and like high strung and like trying to force things to happen. And man, I've gone overboard with it, dude. I really have. And I think that certain things that I try to force to happen that don't happen, they're just not supposed to happen, you know. And I think that there's a lot to be said for kind of just taking a step back, you know.
So one thing I've always been super curious about, Spike Jonze gets a thank you in the credits, and he's always producing and writing on the Jackass movies, but he's best known for these very artistic films. Like, what? How has it been working with him throughout the years? Because it's just such a departure from what he's best known for, that he's doing these crazy stunt movies with you guys.
Um, it, I actually submit that it's the other way around. Uh, um, Spike's first ever video project was a skateboarding video called Rubbish Heap, which featured some pretty terrible stuff. Um, and he came up in the world of BMX and skateboarding, and that's very much the world that the Jackass and SteveO came out of. And the departure was really into this, high art, super sophisticated, Academy Award winning movies. But I think that, yeah, like I said, this is really this type of stuff in Jackass, I think, is really Spike's origin.
Yeah, that's really cool that he's still doing both. And fans of yours will be so excited to know there's a bunch of great Jackass members that pop up throughout this special here. How important has it been that you guys have always supported each other's individual endeavors? I think fans really get a kick out of you guys actually being friends and supporting each other, rather than just hanging out when filming's happening.
Right, man. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have said it better. Like, we really are friends. It's it means the world that the guys have been so supportive and you know willing to show up and be on camera and participate in something that I'm trying to do by myself. It's epic, man. You know, the guys really the relationship I have with the Jackass guys is more than special, for sure.
And your ears are also pretty special, as we learn, as they will not cauliflower. You just had a who's who of former UFC stars like Jorge Masvidal, Chuck Liddell was there, John Jones. They were all feeding the shit out of your poor ear. But I know I see you pop up at UFC events. Can you talk a little bit about just how you got into mixed martial arts as a fan? Because it's really cool to see them embraced in this special in a small way.
Yeah, for sure, man. You know, I'd love to say that I've always been a UFC fan, but I haven't. It was like 2016. I came in on the Ronda Rousey hype, and once that happened, I just got more and more in love with it, and now I'm like a complete psycho. I just sit there and watch every single fight, and sometimes I wonder what the hell is wrong with me that I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, and, kind of like Jackass, MMA has like some really out there personalities. We don't really, see that all the time in other sports, but MMA is kind of, more rugged, more out there, and I think that's definitely a part that fans really appreciate is the personalities of somebody like, Masvidal or Jones. You don't really see that a ton. They're not as PR trained as well.
Yeah, I mean it's true. It's true. You don't hear from other athletes quite as much, and I mean maybe like um, yeah, I think that's great too. And the way that Dana is about just letting anybody say whatever they're gonna say, and not getting bent out of shape. Like I'm just such a fan of Dana, man.
Yeah, he's a character, and speaking of in that like combat sports realm, you have a very you basically got a fight when you appeared on WWE. Yaga went crazy on you. You were kind of moving when you weren't supposed to, and he kind of took some liberties there and started, elbowing you for real during that segment. What are your kind of memories of working with Yamaga and appearing inside the WWE ring?
I mean, I just remember walking through what the match was gonna look like. You kind of have, like you agree to sort of an outline, like bullet points of what the moves are gonna be, and you walk through it. Um, and then I remember when the show was live and it was actually happening, it was just such a wildly different experience. Like I felt like he was just hitting me so hard. And then the last move that we discussed happens, and then like it's supposed to be over, but he's still hitting me. And I didn't know. I didn't know that he was hitting me because I wasn't playing dead, and I didn't know I was supposed to play dead. So, yeah, that got crazy, man. And I actually don't remember leaving the ring, honey. Yeah, I don't remember leaving the ring at all.
That's a crazy experience. And then I was also curious, did you get any interactions with Vince McMahon during that?
Um, Pontius remembers it better than I do. Uh, I seem to recall my first memory being in like a control room, and according to Pontius, Vince McMahon was just super jazzed, like, "Oh, that was great," like. I know that that's how Pontius recounts it, but I don't trust my own memory quite as much, so I'm just taking his word for it.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I think maybe something you should have more memories of was you were in the very last year of the clown college. What exactly goes on in clown college? I mean, and to be one of the last like college educated clowns has to be pretty special.
Yeah, for sure, man. Clown college was more like boot camp for circus clowns than it was like college. It it was 2 months, like an 8-week program, so more like boot camp, and it was intensive. We trained 14 hours a day and all kinds of stuff with the makeup and the skills and the acrobatics and dance and improv and comedy and all this kind of stuff. And it was an amazing experience, man, for sure.
Yeah, and it's kind of a real blessing in disguise that, you didn't wind up going down that path and you weren't, selected
Yeah,
there. Because just imagine all this didn't happen and you were just, like a clown. That'd be it's crazy to
there's
think
a
about how there's the divergence points can be.
there's an amazing amount of truth to that. That my story. So like there was I imagine I'm probably quite a bit older than you, but I remember when I was a kid, there was a cartoon called Mr. Magoo, and it was this
Yeah.
guy who, like, didn't know what was going on. He could barely see, and like the opening of every episode was him like just walking through, and he didn't even realize that like he was in such peril. Like he would step off the thing, and it would be like like a huge skyscraper, but as he took the step, like a beam would come and meet his foot, and he was just walking through life oblivious to the fact that it was just total peril, which he was narrowly escaping. And my story is a little bit like that. Just taking a step with nothing there and just something comes to meet my foot, like that's how I've walked through life in a lot of ways, man.
That's
It makes you think
incredible.
it makes you think that the universe really had a plan for me, or has a plan for me all along.